Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Carly Brookfield, and I'm Chief Executive of DIA Group. But you're not going to hear very much from me today other than the introductions, because I have got some additional experts with me today who are going to speak to you about the very important subject of protecting your driving school brand. Today, if you've got any chat amongst yourself about your experiences with developing and protecting the brand of your driving school, please feel free to have that chat in the chat, and I'll keep an eye on that and say to our presenters today if there's anything I think it's worth commenting from your perspective as the experts. If you've got a specific question for our presenters today, please put that in the Q&A, and that allows me to dance between the two functions and make sure I'm picking up those killer questions as well as addressing any chat that you might have as well. So all that remains really is for me to welcome the two presenters today. We have with us today Corinne and Michaela from NBR, National Business Register, who we will tell you towards the end of the presentation more so about the special offer that we have for members vis-a-vis their surface at the moment. The only thing that I would add very quickly is, as somebody who is advising our members and representing our members on the various risks of being a driver or rider trainer, this is an area that particularly concerns me. And it concerns me for your sakes, and it concerns me as a business owner too. Because let's not forget, driving instruction is not a charitable area. It is an area of small businesses trying to keep those businesses profitable and protected. And as a business owner myself, we own multiple brands other than DIA itself. We're experienced investors and business operators. I see risks occurring every day in people's businesses from not particularly protecting their brand and their brand reputation. So this is something that I want people to take very seriously in our industry. You are vulnerable to either being receiving claims from other organizations with arguably better brand protection than most driving schools for passing off or trademark infringement, or you can have organizations who are trying to infringe your intellectual property, your brand, etc. So, I'm glad there are people who've come to this webinar today. I'd like to actually have seen a lot more professionals in our space take this subject seriously. So I'm hoping that as we record this as a video and we share it with your peers and your colleagues in the industry who couldn't make it today as well. Although there is certain protections that can be given around brand and claims against you as a business with DIA's professional indemnity policy in particular, frankly, I'd rather not be covering them on the PI, because I'd rather see that people had them actually, those protections in place when they set up a business. And this is a core foundation of setting up a business, is that solid foundation that can withstand the risks of operating a business in the environment that which you're in. So, this is a key webinar. I'm glad that we've been able to get a partner with more expertise than I have to get off the ground today. And please take the time to ask your question of these experts as well. But see also what they are promoting today as a product as something that is worth the investment for your business as well, because claims against businesses for intellectual property infringement can cost tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds, depending on the size of your business and how that asset is reflected in your business as a value as well. So with not much more further ado, I will pass over to Michaela and Corinne to run the show.
Good morning, all. Thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, so we'll cover off what you can do to protect your business name, essentially. Any questions, if we'll go through them at the end, if that's okay. If you head off then, Corinne.
Thank you. Yeah, morning, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Carly. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Corinne Elliott. I'm the Commercial Director with National Business Register. Joined the company just under 30 years ago, so I've been here quite some time now. And this is my colleague, Michaela Kuzak, who's the Solicitor and Director of National Business Register.
Morning, yes, all. Myself and my husband acquired the business in 2020, so just over 5 years now. We've been working with business owners, helping them protect their brands, and that is essentially what we do. So NBR was first established in 1984, so it did general company secretarial things alongside the intellectual property, protecting businesses' names, trademarks and registered design. And today it continues to offer those traditional intellectual property products such as trademarks and registered design. But business name protection was really born out of the fact that we wanted to help those smaller businesses that aren't able to or can't afford to trademark their name. It offers a level of protection that no other business in the UK is doing, and it's particularly helpful for those smaller sole traders or smaller regional type businesses.
Okay, so a brief overview of today's presentation. We're going to cover these following subject areas here. Firstly, why your business name matters, why that's important to you in your industry. Common mistakes involved in choosing a business name and trying to protect your business name. Obviously, the various methods of how you can protect your business name. Business name protection, how it works from start to finish. We'll also be covering passing off, what is it and how it can be resolved. Who is business name protection for? And also at the end of the presentation, we'll have a short Q&A discussion just to answer any questions you may have had as a result of what we talk about today.
Sorry,
And also
sorry to
we'll
interrupt, guys. Can we just can you just put the presentation on full screen because people can just actually see your slide menu at the moment.
okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do. Bear with me.
Okay, bear with us.
And apologies, everybody, whilst we sort that out. We just had a few technical issues this morning. That's why we're a little late starting.
Yeah.
Is that better?
How's
Can you
that?
see that?
Yeah, they should be able to see the dual screen. Yeah.
Excellent.
Bro.
Okay. Yes, I was just saying at the end we'll have a Q&A, and also we'll be able to confirm the discount code details. Being a member of DIA does actually give you rights to a 25% discount on the usual fee that we charge for business name protection. So we'll cover that at the end as well.
So why does your business name matter? Well, your business name is the first impression that anyone has of your business before they hear you speak, see your work, see your reviews, before they meet you. It's your identity, and really it's how customers find you, how they remember who you are, and how they recommend you to others. So it is really important that whether you are offering a local service or you are a growing national brand, that the reputation and the values that are associated with your name are protected and are clear. There are times that there might be some confusion, so you might start receiving a telephone calls for another business that has a name similar to yours. You might be tagged in a couple of those local Facebook recommendations groups as someone that has done a really good job of getting a niece, a nephew, a son, daughter through their driving test. You might also be tagged when someone hasn't liked the work that someone else has done, and that can really have lasting effects. That isn't a quick resolve. You're on that Facebook group now as someone who actually they weren't very good. They weren't very sympathetic. I wouldn't recommend them. I'd look elsewhere. And it wasn't actually you. So it can really have sort of lasting effects. You spend so much time building your reputation, and you don't want someone else to dine off that either. You don't want someone else to be getting the work that you should be, because there's been some misrepresentation, some confusion when someone's been trying to recommend you. It's illegal. Your name is a branding tool, and it's a legal asset that really you want to get right and protected from the start.
Okay, so common mistakes when choosing your business name and trying to protect that. Firstly, many people believe that registering with Companies House as a limited company will basically protect your name. Simply isn't true. Companies House is a government-run body, really just in place for administrative purposes. If you form a company at Companies House, yes, Companies House can only form one company under one particular name, but they won't prevent other people forming companies with very similar names. For instance, you could just add, I don't know, bracket Midlands or brackets Londons or services at the end, and Companies House would accept that as a limited company name. And of course, their checks don't take into account sole traders and partnerships who don't register with them. Quite a lot of driving instructors are sole traders and partnerships and not limited companies. So it's worth bearing in mind that forming a limited company simply doesn't stop anybody else from using your trading name. Another popular misconception is regarding domain names. Obviously, there's quite a few endings out there, lots of GTLDs as they're called, .co.uk, .com, .biz, .net, etc. There's hundreds now out there. And simply registering your business name as a .co.uk, for instance, certainly will not stop anybody else using your business name online. They can simply change the ending, they can hyphenate it, they can change the spelling slightly, and even you can have business names that sound the same, but they're visually different. The example here of first gear driving lessons and first gear driving lessons, obviously one ST and FIRST, they're completely different domain names, but they're phonetically sounding the same. So if somebody's recommending your business name to somebody else and they mention first gear driving lessons, spelled FIRST, they're obviously not going to stipulate that spelling, and that person could quite easily type into Google or go into a domain name, type in one ST. So again, either of these options, domain names and forming limited companies, aren't a very good tool to use when protecting your business name.
So what actually does protect your business and your brand? So here we've concentrated on those that require registration in the UK. Based in the UK, there are some types of IP that happen automatically, like copyright. That will be the photograph that you have taken to go and to help with your marketing. You might do some tips for taking your test on a blog. That is protected by copyright. You don't need to register that anywhere. But these are the registrations that need to take place because legal protection comes from those registration of the IP rights. So trademarks here, we're looking at a business name, a logo, a tagline, and that would give you an exclusive use to that mark in the industry that you're in and the jurisdictions, so the countries that you register. Registered design, that is really product based, so the appearance of something, but it could be a mascot that's designed to go along with your branding, and that would give you exclusive use to that in the jurisdiction. Patents, we're looking at innovative inventions here, and that would require registration. And then finally, business name protection. That is a local UK only based protection. It is off the back of the common law taught in the UK of passing off, not to copy someone else's name, and that would protect you in your industry and the region of the UK that you trade.
Thank you, Kayla. Well, Kayla's covered most of the general areas of IP. I'm going to focus mainly on business name protection, which is our unique service, which is certainly probably the most relevant for driving instructors. To be honest, it covers certain types of businesses, and it's mainly for names that can't be trademarked. Certain terms can't be trademarked because they can be deemed to be descriptive or contain a person's name or a place name, for instance. It covers you for protection against UK passing off laws as opposed to trademark infringement, so it's more relevant to localized businesses. It includes up to £10,000 worth of legal assistance, which includes various sort of legal fees that's involved in protecting your business name. And obviously, once that business name protection is in place, it helps prove your reputation and prior use. It also helps with your Google business profile as well. If you haven't got one set up, our certificate of registration can help with that. And if you, for any reason, your Google profile has been taken down, it can help with reinstatement as well. So having that business name certificate is vital for that. As well, it differs to trademarks. It's very cost effective. Trademarks are for 10 years, 10-year periods, and can be quite expensive, can run into thousands. But obviously, business name protection is only around £100 a year, so it's a much more cost-effective form of protection.
So I'll dive a little deeper into what passing off is. So in order to establish that someone has passed off your business name, we need to be able to prove there's goodwill, there's misrepresentation, and there's damage. We've got an example here: driving, School of Motoring. Companies House would allow both of these registrations. When someone is recommending you verbally, you absolutely would not know the difference. And realistically, if you're recommending someone via text on Facebook, any of those, there's going to be confusion caused here. So the goodwill that you need to establish is there's some positive association with your name. You are using your name. You have a branded car. invoices might have your actual name on. You don't go by you wouldn't call yourself Drive Right School of Motoring, and then your invoices or your Google profile would be Dave, the driving instructor. You need to have that same association. You need to be known by one name and have positive association. There needs to be some misrepresentation, so someone else that is causing some confusion. There's some similarity, so that might be a name, that might be a logo, that the font, everything about it, the colouring might all be very, very similar, and it's causing confusion between potential clients. And then finally, damage. That either needs to happen or likely to happen. So that can be reputational, or it can be financial loss of clients. So those are the three things that you would need to establish that, yes, someone is passing off their name, my name, and that is something that we would help with and correct through business name protection. We've got some examples of our clients here that we've helped. We've got Curious Cubs and Forest Cubs. This is a stay and play group that we do have a video on actually, but unfortunately the audio is not working. But in summary, this was a stay and play group. It featured a local business called Forest Families, and they basically got preschool children involved in playing outdoors, particularly relevant during COVID, when we weren't able to go into classrooms and have those usual classes. 1 year after setting up, in the same village, a business called Forest Cubs was set up. And as a consequence, lots of the parents were booking Forest Cubs, believing that these were the same people that had run these previous sessions and that are still running them. They had the same name, the same colour, branding, the same logo. They were even on the same road. So we were able to resolve that for them. Again, you can see with Arden Kitchens and Bathrooms, the second business has literally got the words installations on. This was allowed at company's house. They were in the same village, again, town, this one was town, but still this was allowed to happen. This involved contractors going to the wrong site, goods being delivered to the wrong site. It had huge cost implications, and again we were able to resolve. And so the second business, Arden Kitchens and Bathrooms, changed their name. And then finally, we've got Ask for Steve, and Ask for Steve driving school. So Corinne will go into that in a little bit more detail shortly. So this is a video of our a business name protection client. This was Curious Cubs. I'll speak roughly about the case because the audio is not working. I'm sorry about that today, but we'll forward the video on because it is relevant to hear straight from a business owner how really this affected their livelihood. Yeah, show back quickly, see. So Kirsty was the owner of Curious Cubs. She was a PE teacher that decided, having her first child, that she was going to set up this business and encourage more children to be outside. She found that there was the first she heard of this new business was that lots of parents were messaging her, particularly on Instagram, congratulating her on the new venture and the new site, and confirming that they'd see her shortly because they're booked on. Kirsty has great skills in terms of practical outdoor activities for children, really educational, and currently she's helping those children that might be excluded from school settings still access education, but her skill set is not in legal. It's not in ensuring that her business is completely legally protected, and she wasn't able to undertake this passing off work herself. Fortunately, she'd already registered with us, so she was able to access the £10,000 worth of legal support that was needed. She didn't need £10,000 worth. There were a few £1,000s that went into working with her and speaking to the other business. The other business, after a time, agreed.
We're getting because the video is running, I think it's causing problems to your audio, so maybe stop sharing the video and it might resolve the audio issues.
Okay, can you hear? Is that better now?
Yes, that's improved it. Yeah, the video audio trying to get through. Yeah.
So the other business agreed to change its name, and also announced that it was not the same business. These were different owners. These were different people running. And that made a huge difference, because Kirsty had 70 plus 5-star Google reviews, Facebook reviews. She had a huge following on Instagram, and all of her Instagram following were being asked to follow this other business. And there was a presumption there. Parents were booking the different site. They were supporting her in a different venture, and they were happy to do so. But the work that we did meant that there was no financial loss for her. The other business changed its name actually before it launched, before it actually opened its doors, because of the work that we did. In the video, Kirsty exposed that she wouldn't have been able to do this herself, and she wouldn't have been able to afford to fund the legal hourly rate work, but because of business name protection, she didn't need to. Her yearly fee meant that all of that was covered. She literally supplied screenshots of examples of the confusion, and then we did all the rest of the work for her. So Ask for Steve is a client of ours who is. Was that not?
Is it going to work? Okay. Right. Ask for Steve. Now, this is extremely relevant for you guys. We had a driving instructor client, Ask for Steve, Nottingham based, who'd been trading for several years. I believe it's 5 years, 5 or 6 years under that particular name. Very unique business name. And again, one of those sort of localized word of mouth type names. If you think, oh, do you know a driving instructor? Oh, well, why don't you call Ask for Steve? He's the person that can help you out. And again, very much location based in a certain small part of Nottingham. Now, unfortunately, our client Steve started to get some a bit of a drop down in sales and inquiries, and it came to light that somebody else was using exactly the same name, Ask for Steve. So luckily, he'd had his business name registered with us for several years and approached us, completed a passing off complaint form, giving us much information about the situation. We contacted the other side in question, and took the various legal steps to basically get the other side to change their business name, which was resolved extremely quickly. It's one of those cases whereby the client basically was paying for the service for several years. And it's one of those things you don't know you're going to need until you need it. And luckily, he'd had that protection in place. So when it was called upon, when he found out someone else was using his name, he came to us, and we were able to uphold his reputation and take steps to get the other side to change their business name to something completely different, with minimal damage to loss of trade. So yeah, Steve was extremely grateful, and that was a case that was resolved very, very quickly and simply. And yeah, Steve had the foresight to get his name registered initially, because it's such a unique name. If somebody comes along and uses something very similar to that, it's so easy to confuse it too, especially when looking for driving school online as well. Okay, so who is business name protection for? We've covered this briefly earlier on, but those who cannot trademark their business name, so people who need to protect themselves against more localized name copying, it's more for them. People who want the assistance in any passing off disputes, for instance, dealing with the other side, helping with cease and desist letters, etc., etc. People who can't afford a trademark, because as previously mentioned, it can run into the thousands for trademark registration. So this is a much more cost-effective opportunity. Startup businesses as well, again, partly to do with funding and costs. It's very cheap to set up a business name protection, and we can do all the checks before you actually start advertising as well. So save you problems with rebranding further down the line. Also, businesses with a unique name within their geographical location, particularly good fit for driving schools who tend to operate in relatively small market areas. It's a very good tool to protect you within your geographical trading area. And again, businesses within your own specific sector. Many sectors have similar names due to the nature of business. So again, driving schools, this is very relevant. And again, coming down to price and funding legal fees, business name protection is a very cost-effective way of protecting your business name.
So who's it not for? It's not for those businesses that have already got a global brand presence. If you're outside of the UK and trading outside the UK, business name protection isn't for you. It's for UK only. If you have an in-house legal team that's able to act upon it, you probably don't need us as your extended legal team to do that work for you. And again, we aren't able to take on clients that are already infringing upon registered trademarks or already passing themselves off under business name protection. It's a little bit like taking out insurance after you've had an accident. So we're not able to assist those clients. And then finally, if you're looking to franchise your business, a trademark would be more beneficial to you in those instances.
Okay, so the main reasons to register for business name protection, firstly, peace of mind that your trading name is unique. Obviously, when you apply to register your name, we'll do all the necessary checks to make sure that nobody else has beaten you to it. Obviously, there's the £10,000 worth of legal assistance if there is a passing off case. The thorough name checking process at the start. We protect your business name once it's registered from imposters and provide you with your registration certificate. And we have a dedicated team of experts that can answer you any questions during your registration period. And once registered, you join over 3,000 UK businesses that are already registered and protecting their business names. Okay, so this is how it works. Initially, if you wanted to register and protect your name, whether you're a brand new business just starting out or whether you're established, we'll firstly be able to undertake the clearance searches to make sure the name is unique for your industry and market area. And of course, we'll be able to then provide you with a report and just confirm if the name is available, if it can be registered and protected. And if not, obviously, we can advise you on the subtle changes that you can make or if you need a complete rebrand. And obviously, once we've done this checks, we can get that registered for you and provide you with your certificate of registration, which is renewed on an annual basis. And again, if you come across a business that you believe is passing off or copying your business name, we'll investigate that thoroughly on your behalf, and then we can take the appropriate action on your behalf as well, and obviously deal with the solicitors or the other side themselves, and you wouldn't have to have any involvement in that. Covering up to £10,000 worth of the legal fees involved in doing that. So that's how that works.
So this is our final slide. So this gives you a discount code DIA 99, and that offers you our business name protection service for £99 plus VAT instead of the usual price of £125 plus VAT. We have our contact details on the slide, and this is your opportunity to ask us any questions that you may have. Corin's also attending your event in December, aren't you?
Coventry, yeah, December the 5th in Coventry. So I'll be on a trade stand. So please come and say hello, as I'll be on my own. So yeah, come and say hi. It'd be nice to have a chat. If you're coming down to Coventry in December.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, Michaela and Corin. And I found that very interesting myself. I hope everybody else did as well. I think the case studies were really relevant to the kind of small business that we have in the driver training sector. And the ones you outlined there were actually other small businesses, going after their trademarks. But what I've noticed in the sector is the rise actually of larger brands going after driving schools, and they tend to be employing what I would call ambulance chasing legal practices who identify this as a niche. So they will write to somebody like me with a bigger brand and say, oh, this small company over here, or a number of small companies that are attempting to pass off, do you want us to go after them for you? And we had a case about 2 or 3 years ago now of a large general insurer who had clearly employed a solicitor to go after lots of companies for them. And they were trying to maintain a driving school that was called Be Wise, was passing off as them, Be Wiser Insurance. Now, Be Wiser probably didn't think about their reputational damage going, because it still happens for them now that I'm speaking about Be Wiser in negative terms. But they were trying to argue that because the driving instructor spoke about insurance products in an advisory capacity on his website, as in, a learner driver should have insurance before they start learning with us and a vehicle, blah, blah, blah. The insurer's trying to argue that was them passing off as providing insurance products, which was ludicrous to me and you. But obviously to the instructor who received that threat from the larger brand, the stress alone and not knowing how to deal with it until they obviously got in touch with us was as I identified, quite stressful for that business. And sometimes we've actually found that members not realizing that they can get support from organizations like yours, and to some degree I cover in the PI, They try and deal with these things on their own, and they employ a solicitor for quite
Yes.
a lot of money to act on their
Yeah.
behalf and get themselves into a lot of hot water. And or they get forced to drop their brand when they actually have a right to operate it, and they're not passing off.
That's it. It's the understanding. And, as a small business owner, we have and wear so many hats, we juggle so much, and we can't be a master of everything. And there are some things that are, we're better off going to the experts on actually how many hours is and what are the stress levels and the emotional impact that it's going to have dealing with this when we can speak to someone about it. And what we find more than anything is, if you think of a normal legal hours and the hourly rates that you would pay, it quickly stacks up when you are gathering evidence, speaking to the other side. Sometimes they don't even respond. So there are email after email, there's phone call after phone call, there's letters, all of that which is paid for.
Mhm.
And the Business Name Protection Service covers that, up to £10,000 is a substantial amount of legal support and you're also speaking to experts that understand and that file trademarks globally. So we do understand the IP laws. We're able to offer advice and be commercial about it.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
say that, you have a right to fight this. We're also able to say your chances of success are high or not high. We're able to be realistic and give that realistic advice because we've got people that have been working for MBR for over 30 years. They've seen case after case after case, and sometimes you just want someone in your corner that can give you that advice and be realistic and back you and do
Yeah.
all of those, do that negotiating on your behalf. And that's what we do. We advocate for you.
Yeah, Helen asked a good question actually, and this is a model that we have in the industry as well. If you're operating multiple brands, do you guys actually offer a discount for that? Because obviously, small business owners are trying to be efficient with the monies within each business that they can spend on these activities. And although everybody realizes that managing the risk is part of mitigating the costs, do you offer a discount as well for those people who have multiple businesses that they're concerned about protecting the risks in?
Yeah, I think we can do that. I think we could have a conversation with
Yeah.
Corinne and see what businesses are there, what sectors, and how we can help. But we are we are a bespoke IP business. This is, mine and my husband's, this is our small business, and we're able to be agile because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and one of our members has also just asked, what's a typical ballpark figure for the register? What is the registration cost?
So the business name protection registration is £99 plus that per year as a DIA member. So
Normally 125, so it's it's 125 normally if you were just coming in onto the website, but using this particular code, it's only 99 plus VAT. But as you say, if you do have several businesses, I'm sure that there's potentially some movement on that as well. Obviously, we'd have to speak to the client individually and see how many businesses and see what their needs are.
if someone was looking at a trademark, we've got a transparent pricing structure on that as well. If someone was looking to they wanted exclusive cover for the whole of the UK rather than just a small region that they locate, and particularly if you're looking to have a few different businesses running or a few people running underneath you.
Like a franchise, for
Yeah,
instance.
a trademark would be beneficial. So our trademarks with a year's monitoring fee in one class start at £699, and that lasts for 10 years, that cover. So if you're looking at if you're looking at offering services beyond just driving instructors or teaching things like that, there might be additional classes, which is £125 in addition. But that's a ballpark figure for a trademark as well, if that assists.
Oh, so that's similar to Max's question. Max has got a business that's offering driver training, but also quality assurance, quality management training.
Okay, yeah.
So, Max, I'm not sure whether you actually operate them under one brand or two brands, but just a clarification there on if they are both operated under the same brand umbrella, but they're two different types of work, as in one's quality management and one's assurance and one's driver training. Do your clients need to define to you the actual business lines that they're engaged in to make sure that they're in the right classes for the protection?
We do. Yeah. I mean, it depends really if it's going to be a trademark or a business name protection. We always ask for the nature of business. If it's a trademark application, obviously there's the various classes, but that's more for a national protection. If the client was trading within, say, a small market area, they were offering driver training plus training for students, but it was within a certain, say, Birmingham or Nottingham or a certain area, that would just come under one business name registration. So that would just be the 99 plus VAT per year, because it's essentially the same business trading in the same geographical area. But if they're trading nationally in those different types of business and it comes into a trademark, yes, there'd be a different trademark class potentially. I hope that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so maybe it's worth getting in touch with the guys just with on the info on MBRG
Yeah,
before committing, just to ensure that you're going to
yeah,
be getting into the right product. So there's a standard product that the guys have been talking about today, and a standard surface for a fairly standard single, driving school,
Yeah.
single name, single, kind of type of business. If you have got a slightly more complex business model than that and you're operating in different markets, then it's worth getting in touch, just an original inquiry, so you guys can tailor that quote accordingly to that business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Paul's asking, what is the situation if there's another company is already passing off your identity and you're not registered yet? So I assume you're asking it from that direction, Paul, that there could be somebody trying to pass off as you, but you're not registered with this scheme yet. Could these guys actually help you in that scenario if you're not yet registered with them?
So we're able to take on cases that there's already a passing off issue. In order to resolve that case, we would charge an hourly rate for that work, similar to what I've already said in terms of having a car accident and then taking out the insurance. We couldn't do it retrospectively, but we would be able to ring fence that as a one business and take any future cases on under that business name protection umbrella. So that one particular issue would be resolved separately under an hourly rated work, and we'd just work with you, and then we would register you if you wanted to do that, so that any future issues would be covered within the registration with us.
Yeah. And I just must make a point from a jurisprudence point of view and a fair, clear, non-misleading FCA type approach here. Whilst claims can be defended for things like passing off under DI's professional indemnity policy, obviously those will be treated on a case by case basis. So there's not always a guarantee, even under an insured policy, that we'll be able to cover it off. It will be up to the insurer at the end of the day, and legal costs are included in that. What the PI will not cover is you trying to deal with problems where somebody's passing off as you. A PI
Yeah.
policy is only for claims against you. It is not claims or proceedings that you want to take out against another person. So if people are wondering what's the difference between the kind of PI policies that that DIA offer as standard in membership, or I can get from another body, they are there to defend you against claims. They will not support you in making claims against any third parties, which is where this product kicks in very well as well. And if you've established a lot of value and your brand has arguably an asset value on your balance sheet, this is a very worthwhile investment for your business. And a scenario that I would talk about is the cost to you to deal with the issue of somebody passing off or infringing your intellectual property, but also at the other end, as investors, we look at businesses that want to be bought or invested in, and what some of the risks that you might define as an investor that might mean that you don't help an owner exit and you don't invest in their business, or the business can't be sold, are reputational risks and intellectual property risks and asset risks, like the brand asset is compromised somewhat as well. And I'm sure you found that in cases as well. And we have certainly had scenarios where we have declined to help an owner exit or invest because we feel the risks of their brand have kind of diminished that value of that actual brand in the first place. So that could be, not everybody is thinking like that here, but if you think you're building up a valuable business that you want to get some kind of value from one day, that the brand could bite you on the bum there, the brand issues there. But as you're building that business, you put all that work into it for somebody else to come in and trade off your hard work and take income away from you. And I think that's worth, looking at your product for that alone.
And also as well with incoming investment, we found that businesses that have their IP protected are more likely to attract external investment as well. So if you're looking for a bank loan or someone to come in and invest, if you have that IP protected, it can count towards the value of your business in that way as well.
Yeah, you're a safe bet, aren't you? You're a safer bet to investors. And I obviously come at IP from a legal perspective. I'm a solicitor, but my husband's actually a financial director, and the reason why how we came about acquiring MBR was because primarily what he was doing was working with business owners who were looking to buy, sell, mergers, acquisitions, and he was finding time and time again those businesses that had already got their IP in place had a higher level of investment, they sold for more. And so every time it was getting to the same point in time, and basically if IP wasn't resolved, if IP was an issue, he was having to source and make sure that it was no longer an issue and that they were a safe bet. And
Yeah.
that's how we sort of became aware of MBR, and ultimately that's why we've acquired this business, because we understand the value that IP gives businesses from that angle.
Definitely. If people don't mind, and I know it's late, and hopefully you guys are all right for another 5 minutes. But I understand that others have got a busy day. If you do need to exit, you can always pick up on this in the video that we send around at the presentation. But we have got a few other questions that people have
Mhm.
got here.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Phil asks us that he set up a limited driving school. 4 years later, after his actual driving school was set up, another instructor set up the business in the same name, but put academy before the driving school. He didn't do anything about it because it's a 1 to 2 instructor business and wasn't particularly worried about that at the time. But he now realized that there is confusion and inquiries could be going to that other business. Is there anything he could do about it retrospectively? They're obviously now established. He hasn't set up his trademark as far as I can see. But is there something you could help him with now?
It's definitely worth having a conversation with us, and let's see, we'd need to know things like how many years was he established first, how many years have they been going. It is harder the more established they become, that as soon as you find this out, really you want to put a stop to it, because that's when your reputation is at its height and theirs isn't, because they're not known. That's when they've started to trade off your goodwill and your reputation. So as soon as you find out things like this, it is best to take action at that point, because it does dilute your brand over time. And the longer they've been going, the harder it can be to prove something like that. But it's definitely worth a conversation with us to see the specific details of that, and just to see what the options are available.
It's always a good idea as well to keep a track of the amount of calls and inquiries you're getting. If there was a drop at any time, or if your sales figures are going down, your clicks on your website, that sort of thing. As a business owner, obviously it's advisable to do that anyway, but particularly in protecting your brand, if you see a drop in any of those things, to document it and keep it, because if it has to go to court, for instance, I mean, this evidence is vital in obviously proving that there's been some confusion and loss of trade. So very important that information is retained as well.
Yeah, a similar one, I think, really to below from Mukesh, that basically he had one business in one postcode area, and then one later pops up in the north of his area, but they're using similar geographically centered brand names. So he's worried about the fact that he might be losing business to a very similar sounding business in his area, but that would be just kind of, maybe sending you guys an inquiry as to how you could help with that, in the same vein as you just answered the last one. Stel says that 2 years ago she received an email from from another driving school saying that I was not allowed to use a name that I've been used for 15 years. They said they trademarked the two words that my driving school uses. I use a trademark at the end to stand out from the other names. Apparently, this makes no difference because I'm using their two words that they claim that they have trademarked. Are they correct?
So
Oh, they said
if you once you've
they made an exclamation mark, not a trademark at the end. So there's just some. They're basically the essence of that, I suppose, is they're claiming ownership of those two words, aren't they?
Yeah, I think if someone registers a trademark and that is granted, they do have exclusive rights to that mark in the location and the industry that they've worked in. If you have been working under that name prior to that trademark, you're in a strong position to try and argue and to negotiate with them on that, a prior use. But it's always a good idea to actually check that they have got a trademark, that they have registered it.
Yeah.
There are so many different factors. It depends on things like trademark class, how similar the names are, if there's a logo or a font or a
Is
typeface
it
that's
word?
associated it.
Is it the logo? Yeah.
Is it two words that are part of a bigger trademark?
Yeah.
Um,
Have a call with
there's
us.
so many different factors. Every case is different. So my advice would be to, yeah, to have a chat with us. Obviously, all chats are free. An initial consultation. Have a chat with us. We'll get some information about the situation, and we take it from there. I mean, it might be a case that we can't help. Hopefully, we can. But all cases are different. What you can sometimes find with somebody who has a trademark, it's the bully boy tactics. They'll create a trademark and say, you've got something that's remotely similar to us. You're not allowed to use anything similar. And if it's just a part of the word that they're using, but your client's using a more fuller term or something descriptive, like driving or academy or something, then you can't own the sole rights to a descriptive term. So
Yeah.
so many variables. So our advice is give us a call and we can talk it through and see what the options are.
And I have seen as well, and you will have seen it more, some very desperate attempts to actually extract cash from people. Things like, if you just take your website down, your name, and also we can settle with you now for £2,000, we'll say no more about it. And so
Yeah,
it's just
there's so many
a cash
scams,
grab.
so many scams. Yeah.
Yeah,
And also phishing emails saying we are
yeah,
representing someone that's going to trademark the name of your business, and we're giving you first rights of refusal to do that to stop them.
yeah,
Complete scam. As a legal provider, you wouldn't be able to do that. You'd be conflicted. There's no way that that can happen.
yeah.
And no one worth their salt in the legal profession would do any kind of marketing tactics like that. So yeah, if you receive anything like that, give us a call. We'll have a look at it and reassure you. But yeah, don't fall for these things because it is bully boy tactics.
And I would say, anything you get like that anyway, where somebody is trying to extract cash from you for you apparently infringing something, send it by the help desk first at DIA as well, and we'll extract whether we think that's an MBR issue. One thing we get
Yeah.
hit with as a publisher is organisations genuinely saying that I mean, we don't, because we use stock, royalty-free stock, but say that we've used an image that we haven't used the right kind of intellectual
Yes.
property markings on. But
Yeah.
that is we're seeing a lot of phishing emails around that at the
Yeah.
moment as well, trying to send when we know we haven't even used the image. And most people are sensible and will interrogate
Yes.
that a little bit, but we do hear people, unfortunately, who end up, losing money or losing something as a result of these kind of scams or these aggressive tactics as well. So it's always best to clarify that with a third party before you take any action.
Yeah. Definitely.
But that's great. I think that's all the questions that we've had today. And, I'm just nipping over to the chat just to make sure that I've cleaned up on those. As we said, if there is any further questions, you've got the details of MBR there. And obviously, these people are very willing to answer your questions and your queries for no fee up front. But I think it's a very worthwhile and investable service to help you, manage an important asset, which is your brand name in an industry where we know that word of mouth and referrals based on your name is one of your strongest channels to marketing as well. So thank you very much, Michaela and Corinne, for
Thank
coming
you.
on
Thank
today.
you for having us.
Have my sympathies as I work in a husband and wife partnership as well. So you two obviously are much better than me and my partner. But I'm sure we'll take another these webinars with you soon, because I think it's something that our members are very interested in. Apologies for any technical issues on our end today. We'll try and resolve those and polish them out in the video as well. But Michaela and Corinne are also going to provide the presentation so you can actually see the videos as well. So thank you for your time, everybody on the call today. I know your time is extremely precious as you balance test waiting times, disgruntled pupils, and actually trying to get pupils safely through their driving test and to the other side at the moment. So we appreciate every moment that you spend with us on things like our webinars. And we hope to come back to you soon with some more useful expert speakers like this on other different topics that help you manage your business and your training a bit better. I'm just talking to the training team now about scheduling a webinar next week. It's a pretty impromptu one to give you an update on test waiting times and other DVSA developments. I was at a workshop in Birmingham yesterday on, kind of tackling test waiting times, and there's a huge degree of honesty, I think, finally, from the agency about the challenges that they're having. So I'd like to schedule a call so we can talk through some of those updates with you, and also get your input from the ground as what you've been experiencing as well. But otherwise, I'm going to let you free and let you get on with your day. And again, thanks, Michaela and Colin. Really appreciated your time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And bye bye, everybody. Thank you.